Hey, it's Abby, and today I'm excited to show you my organized home office. If you remember from our one-year home tour, it was tidy in there, but it was in serious need of some storage pieces. Everything was just kind of stacked up randomly on furniture that I already had and was trying to throw together. And so Donnie and I have spent the last couple weeks working really hard in here to get everything just right and neat and organized, and I can't wait to show you it today. So this is the room that basically sold us our house. It's the bonus room above the garage, so it's fairly large, and I knew it would be perfect for fitting all of the different functions that I needed out of my office. So I needed a place to work, I needed a place to do projects, a place to shoot photos and videos. I even work out in here, so it fits a lot of different functions. The first thing that I did when I went to tackle this space was to do a major declutter. I had been holding on to decor items and office stuff and all sorts of random whatever that I had kept from our last house that we didn't need anymore. So I went through, I donated a bunch of things. I got rid of a bunch of items that were broken or were not usable anymore. And that allowed me to see what I had left, and I could make a great organization plan for the room. So let me show you around the space. I will link to as many of the items as I can in the description below, so check that if you're looking for sources. So this back wall is definitely the focal wall in the space. I did an all over stencil treatment. I have a tutorial for that on my blog, which I will link to as well. I knew I wanted storage that was fairly open on this wall so that it could hold things and be practical, but it also could act as a display piece and look beautiful as well. We looked through a bunch of different options, but ultimately we decided to use the IKEA Besta system, which Donnie put together and then added some custom trim to on the top and the bottom to make it look a little more traditional and fit in with the space a little better. So I stored all of my books on the top section of this shelf, and I've always wanted to color code my books, so I was able to do that here and did a subtle rainbow across the top. On the inside, to organize things, I used a couple wicker baskets just to corral the different types of items, and I put a book plate label on the front and then just used washi tape and my label maker to make the label itself. My label maker can print in a pretty cursive font, which makes the labels extra pretty. And I will link to my exact label maker in the description below. I ended up moving some of my decor items out of the PAX unit that I showed a couple weeks ago and into this unit because they looked pretty in here and they're out in the open. I also moved the clear bins out of the PAX unit as well and put them down in this section, and they're holding different items like my paint chips and my photo props and my label maker. The labels on the front of the clear bins were made with my Silhouette Cameo cutting machine and adhesive vinyl. One final thing I was able to fit in this unit was all of my binders, which needed a home previously. So they're all lined up here, and they hold different things like printables that I use often. One just holds loose leaf paper. A few of them are blank. They hold some of the information for webinars that I do, and now I have easy access to them right here. And then finally, we added a lac shelf from IKEA up here just as a display piece to make everything look pretty. Over on the other end of this wall is a little reading nook. I was thrilled that I ended up having room for a little reading nook over in this corner. This chair is from IKEA, as is the lamp, and then I just added a little basket with the plant from Home Goods and this little stool, and the reading nook was complete. Next, we added even more storage to this next wall. This big storage unit from Overstock ended up solving a bunch of my storage problems for me. So first, it holds all of my throw pillows. I might be a little bit obsessed with throw pillows. I usually have a set of them out, and then I'll have some here that are kind of waiting to be rotated in. So it holds my extra pillows, and we made sure to anchor the unit really well at the top because my boys are sometimes in here with me, so it's really sturdy and anchored so it won't fall over. The other problem that this unit solved for me was what to do with my printer. I was torn between leaving it out and being sort of an eyesore, or trying to cover it up, but then blocking some of our access to it. So I weighed a bunch of different options, and I ended up just putting a small printer on the bottom of this unit. So it's not an eyesore, it's not kind of out in the middle of the room, it's tucked underneath there, but it still gives us easy access and we can reach our printed items easily. Then I just have some bins and baskets to hold various things that we needed to have easy access to as well. So there's printer paper in this basket down here. This holds some of our specialty paper like labels or cardstock. And then we have magazines. I have some envelopes and extra ink in these boxes. And I have my scrapbook paper in these boxes on the bottom shelf. Another problem that I wanted to solve in this space was the need for another area to do projects. So I will show you that right over here. I already had a desk in this space, which you'll see in a minute, but I also wanted a larger surface where I could work on projects and different things. So I was looking for some sort of table, but I didn't just want any table. I wanted to be able to move it around easily, because sometimes I want it to sit in the middle of the room, so I have the background of the back wall in front of me. Sometimes I want it out of the middle of the room, so we have a big wide open space. So I wasn't sure what I was gonna do, but I ended up finding this really inexpensive table at IKEA. It's the Ingo table. It comes unfinished. I just whitewashed it really quickly to make it fit in with the rest of the room. And I can even consider putting casters on it, but it was so light that I didn't need to. I can easily move it from this corner to the middle of the room and back, depending on what I want to use it for. And above the table, I found this giant whiteboard at Hobby Lobby that Donnie and I can use to kind of map out some of our ideas and make some plans, and then we'll have all of our information all in one place right in this corner of my office. You've probably seen my office nook in some of our past videos, but we'll take a real quick look at it again. This little nook was the first piece of my office that we worked on last year, and I'm still loving it. I used some photo ledges from IKEA to hold some pictures of my boys and just some decor frames over here. This chair is from Joss & Main. The ottoman is from Target, and even though they're from two different places, they ended up being a pretty good match, a pretty good set. So I sit here often and do work on my computer. The desk is also from Joss & Main. It is no longer available, sadly, but I recently put together a post of about 15 white desks that are really similar to it, so I'll link to that below if you're looking for a desk like this one. Inside the desk, I just have little dividers that help me to organize a bunch of my office supplies, so I always have them on hand whenever I need them. The last little corner in my office has the PAX unit that I showed a few weeks ago, but we'll just take a quick peek and I'll show you some of the little changes that I made since then. So these cabinets were made with IKEA PAX system, and we just added our own crown molding to the top to make them look a little more built-in and like they came with the room. If you want to see what is inside of every single nook and cranny of this space, I will link below to the full tour where you can see everything. I have made a couple changes which I've kind of mentioned as I've gone throughout the space. So for example, in this cabinet, I took a lot of the decor items out and they're being stored in that unit on the back wall. And I actually have some extra space. These are both empty, so they're available to hold other items later. There's never a problem with having extra storage space. I have room to grow in here, which is great. Another change that I made was I was able to find space in here to store my workout gear. So right now I have my weights and medicine balls down underneath these drawers. They're tucked out of the way, but they're also easy to get to when I want to work out in here in the morning. So that is my organized office. I am so excited to have it all done and organized and ready to go. And I think I'll be able to be a lot more productive now that everything has a place. I would love to hear about the systems you use to organize your own home office space, so be sure to tell me about them in the comments below.